Hey guys, Sincere here with whoissincere.com. Want to bring to you part two of this documentary that I'm doing here about exposing Jade Helm, what it really is, what it's really in preparation for, and how it's in preparation for what you see on the screen right here, the Army After Next. As you've probably all heard, Jade Helm exercise this summer of 2015 has been sparking a lot of controversy, a lot of conspiracy theories, a lot of people running around just, doing crazy things over Jade Helm. Rightfully so. I understand why, when the truth is not out there, you have to kind of just go with what you can find. So a lot of folks don't understand in the quest for finding truth, there has to be research done, and that research has to be presented. Anything that you see me talking about, you will see me presenting the research for it so that you can check it out yourself. I notice a lot of folks out there now, they'll write a lot of words and try to convince you of their point of view, and they have no research with it because they know if you check the research, you'll come up with a different point of view. So, with that said, let's get started. I'm happy that you're viewing this video that I'm doing here. This is going to help you to understand where we are going as a nation, as a country. If you have not viewed part one, do not watch this video until you view part one. You will not understand why I'm talking about what I'm talking about until you view the entirety of part one. In part one, we discussed Israel not being our ally, Israel actually being the ally of China and Russia. We discussed several different issues with the Army After Next being actually established in the 1990s and creating a plan right out the gate for 2016. We've gone over that. I've showed you, I've proven that to you in the actual official document from DARPA, signifying 10 times in that document the year 2016. Excuse me. What else did we go over? We went over Israel. Let me see. We went over quite a few things. So we went over a lot in that first documentary, but what we didn't go over yet is how Jade Helm ties into Army After Next and where this all goes from this point of 2015, moving into 2016 and up to 2000, possibly 25 to 28. Okay, so we got a lot of years ahead of us, a lot of transitions you're going to see. These two documentaries that I'm putting out are exactly what you are going to see. If you've been watching the news lately, you've noticed that, of course, Trump is on every news channel. But if you're noticing Trump on every news channel, you're noticing something else. There's no mention of ISIS. Did ISIS take off for the summer? Is ISIS watching Trump? No ISIS, no Boko Haram, no Taliban, no anything with the Middle Eastern extremist groups. So I've been watching the trend of that die down significantly, extremely significantly, and that's because it was all hyped up to begin with. And I live here in Chattanooga where there was just a Islamic inspired shooter, which we'll call, a terrorist. So, I can honestly tell you that even after, what just happened here in Chattanooga, which is kind of surreal still to this day, I just don't understand how the media just switches gears and we go from ISIS to Trump and nothing about ISIS anymore. So it lets you know that you're being programmed, you're being geared, and the gears are switching now, and that's why Trump is here. Trump is here to allow that room, to allow that shift and that switch to happen. The commentators, through mass media, Fox and CNN and some of the other stations, they're all talking about China now, especially with all of the economic upheaval that's been going on lately. China is at the forefront of every conversation now. They're inserting little points of China here, little points of China there. It's China's fault. It's China's fault. That's the psyop that's happening. That's psychological warfare. That's all that is. It's getting you programmed to understand that China is the problem for our problem. Is the reason for our problems. Okay. Entirely not true, by the way. So this is, Army After Next. First time it was mentioned is 1994. The first document that I was able to actually obtain was 1996, and that was the DARPA document that's found in the first part of the series. Let's go to the second site here. I put here this link here. I'm going to leave all the links below. This is the book, pretty much. I guess here it is. The briefing. That's what we'll call it. The documented briefing. Army After Next: Exploring New Concepts and Technologies for the Light Battle Force. This was actually put out by RAND Corporation. It's, I have not, particularly read it, but I wanted to put it out there, just so you guys could see that this information has been around for a while. These guys know what they're talking about. They know what's going on here in 2000, leading into 2016. This has not really been a secret, if you want me to be honest with you. It's a secret in the sense that it's not being talked about and it's being hidden from mass media, dissemination. It's a secret in that sense, but as far as finding out about it, no, you can find out about it. You can do some research on the Army After Next, and you'll find out a lot of information. I'm going to leave you a lot of information too. Let's go to the next slide here. Here's another book, The Army After Next, The Post-Industrial Army, Stanford Studies in Jewish History and Culture. Now this book here, it's interesting, especially from the Jewish history and culture perspective. But this book here is interesting because it goes into the revolution in military affairs, and it equates that with, what we noticed in Afghanistan and Iraq, and how pretty much the author of this book here is, what he's saying, Thomas Adams, is that what we tried to do in Afghanistan and Iraq was use all of the capabilities, here you go, promised by the high-tech revolution in military affairs. So meaning all the stuff they were pretty much doing in 1996, we tried to activate that in the wars that we had with, in Afghanistan and Iraq. And we weren't ready to activate those technologies and the new methodologies. And that's the reason why it was a hard-fought war, when if we would have used the old method of just going in with foot soldiers to conquer our territory, the war would have been over within a month. It would have been simply that easy. We were just out in the desert really playing with our brand new toys, trying to figure out how we're going to work. Those people over there, they will never, ever, ever pose a realistic threat to us. Think about it. There's a bunch of guys, they have money, but they don't have any weapons. Any kind of real capable weapons of getting a nuclear device to the United States. They can do little car side bombs all day. A 15-year-old, a 13-year-old can make a car side bomb. So if that's something that's going to happen, it's their most effective means of attack that they've had to date. So as far as them actually attacking our homeland, and attacking it free of any kind of influence, any kind of intervention, or any kind of connection to the United States, like CIA, FBI, or government connection, free of that, they on their own 2 feet cannot get on a plane, come over here and kill us, or get on a boat, or call their Navy up that they don't have and come over here and attack us. That's just the facts of it. So we tried to use our revolution in military affairs in those situations with Afghanistan and Iraq, and we made it a little bit harder on ourselves to accomplish the objectives of the mission. So this is it looks like a very good read. This read I will actually be doing because I believe that there's a lot in here that I could probably find out, so I'm going to recommend that to you guys too, and I'll leave a link below for that. All right, here's where we get into the meat and potatoes. How does Jade Helm meet up with the Army After Next? How is Jade Helm preparation for the Army After Next? This is how. Jade Helm meets with the Army After Next at one significant meeting point, and that meeting point is a little island called Taiwan. Okay? Now, Taiwan is, you know, they're a part of China. Okay, they are a part of China, but they're separate from China. They have a democracy, an actual, a really good democracy, you know, on top of it. So we are really close allies with Taiwan. We have tremendous amount of trade with them. Obama has released, we've had 12, I think it was back in 2010, $12 billion worth of weaponry in Taiwan, which I'm sure a lot of that weaponry is not aimed at just keeping Taiwan safe from China. Though Taiwan is a part of China, they have a lot of grievances with each other and the way that they do things. So Taiwan maintains some of the culture and the history of the mainland of China, but it prefers to stay independent in its goals and its values and objectives. China has territorial rule over Taiwan, but they let Taiwan kind of go and do their own thing, you know, in their democratic process. Even though they know, you know, Taiwan is close with the United States, closer with the United States than it is with China, as far as relations are concerned. So there's a tension in that area. There's something called the Taiwan Strait that's in that area, the waterway that's between mainland China and the island of Taiwan. So in that the Taiwan Strait is where a lot of the tension builds up as far as imports and exports and the you know the rights of way through that critical water passage. You know, right now Taiwan is they're in the process of electing their first female president. So they're a very excuse me, a very progressive kind of culture. I mean, they're moving forward. I mean, with the times very, very quickly. They're pretty much coming out of the Stone Age. They've been under democracy for about 20 years. They're coming out of the Stone Age, and they're stepping into the reality of the world that pretty much the United States is running right now. So, and they're doing a good job. Let me give you an example. There's 23 million people on this island. 23 million people. Now, not every nation considers this island its own independent country. Some do, some don't. But 23 million people in this country. And out of that, they send, I think it was last year in 2014, they sent over 21,000 students to the United States for education. 21,000. We sent 3,000 to Taiwan. So they're sending a lot of students to the States for education. They're going back. They're becoming the innovators of their society and the leaders of their community. We have initiatives in Taiwan and places around Taiwan to bring up young leaders for tomorrow, and that's a part of the United States effort to help balance out the power in the Asian area, so that China doesn't have too much power and the United States can, I guess, kind of keep its authority in that area. So Taiwan is, they're an open kind of society where they're free to elect, women, and women have great rights over there. Their economy they have a good economy, a decent economy, but they're going through problems and troubles just like everyone else is. Anyone else that's dealing with the United States and the dollar, they're going through problems right now because the United States has been less than truthful about the value of their own currency. Let's move on from there. In Taiwan, the way that we maintain relations is through something called the American Institute in Taiwan. Christopher J. Marut, or Merritt, I think it is the director at the American Institute in Taiwan. Seems like a good guy. This was a very, very good read right here. Notice a lot of interesting, numbers in the read. You always get your number 33. Get your 9/11 in there, of course. So there's a lot of interesting information that's actually in here. I'm going to leave a link for this too, so that you can actually go through it. It talks about the foundation of U.S.-Taiwan relations. Um, you know, it, we right now, as far as having relations with Taiwan, of course, we're going to be more influential to Taiwan's future than China, because Taiwan is democratic just like we are. They have an election process, all that good stuff. Uh, China's, of course, different. They're a lot different. Now, with that being said, there's a difference in values between Taiwan and China. So, with us, here you go. These systems are part of 12 billion in new defense articles and services that the U.S. administration has notified to Congress since 2010. So, you know, with those differences, and with us giving Taiwan this defense money, 12 billion that is a lot for a little island. It's a little island. It's not that big. It's a very small place. So, $12 million. 12 billion. I'm sorry, $12 billion is a lot of money. China, of course, if they have the internet, they can go on and read this. They don't have to, be secretive about finding out how much we gave Taiwan. They can see that we gave Taiwan 12 billion. They're probably kind of pissed about that. You know what I mean? That we're helping Taiwan through trade and negotiations, even though it'll probably be written off as Taiwan spent 12 billion. And bought stuff from the United States. We know that that's probably not true. That we have the advantage in that situation. We're not really going to make Taiwan buy $12 billion worth of stuff from us when they can just go somewhere else and really get it probably for cheaper, just to be honest with you. So I'm sure that that price tag is something that we've actually probably invested within their economy, being happy with how they're partnered with us. They're an unofficial partner with us. And we play the middleman like we do in other countries, like we do in the Middle East between Israel and Iran, and and Ukraine and Russia, between Taiwan and China. We're playing the middleman, and we have been playing the middleman there for some time. It kind of bothers me that not too many people actually focus on our ties that we have there between China and Taiwan, because of course we have relations with China. We do a lot of business with China. Of course we have relations with Taiwan because of their democratic government that they have. So of course, the third, of course, we're in the middle of negotiating any kind of tensions that may happen. China doesn't like that. Of course they don't like that, because Taiwan is technically their territory, their land. So, China is not really with that, but Taiwan's floating away from China. They're doing it more and more every day. And I'm going to show you later on in this video China's reaction to Taiwan floating away from them more and more. China doesn't like it. They do not like it, and they're getting upset about it. So they're provoking and making an uncomfortable situation. That's where Jade Helm and Army After Next come together. They come together in this point where China is creating an opportunity for us to stop the economic bleeding. So what I'm saying by that is, if China is messing with Taiwan, and if they're threatening Taiwan and trying to make it seem like Taiwan is just these people are out of control, or whatever they're doing to Taiwan, and trying to take away their independence and what little independence they do have. The United States will step in. The United States will, I'm not going to say what we'll do, because I don't know. Like I said, everything I like to say is, based in fact. So from what I'm reading, we will step in, we will commit swift action. And that's where the Army After Next comes into play, because Taiwan is it is a major, I can't emphasize this, enough. Major, major, major advantage point. That vantage point that we have at Taiwan, I mean, it sits right off of the coast of China. And it's big enough for us to launch any level of military operations to neutralize anything that China would send towards the United States. So, as far as keeping China neutralized in that region, Taiwan is our biggest asset by far, because it is the only main asset that we have exactly on the eastern side of China. So it's a huge asset to us. Like I said, I'll leave a link for that below. This is actually the guy here, Christopher, who's the head of the American Institute in Taiwan. Let's see if I can play this. Oh.
Greetings from the American Institute in Taiwan. I'm Director Chris Merritt. My wife Loretta and I,
Well, that's giving
and
me
all of us at AIT, would like to wish you a pleasant and prosperous Year of the Horse.
Yeah, they're about to do something that I don't know what they're doing. It's like shaking their hands, I guess, the year of the horse or something. But that's the guy that is in charge with the relations of the Taiwanese government, and everything pretty much goes through that guy, and this is his wife right here. So he's still over there now, and this video, I'm not sure when it was, 2014, yeah, 2014. But Obama was just saying, I believe, something about him just this year in 2015 as far as our relations over there, and mentioning his name. So I know that he's still there. This is right here, as you can see at the top, U.S. Department of State. This is our official U.S. relations with Taiwan. This is the facts sheet. I'll leave a link here for this so you can see, who we are with Taiwan. Now, I found this quite interesting, and this is just the building up of what I was saying earlier as far as Taiwan is Taiwan is the goal of the United States as far as keeping stability in that region, and having stability in that region would mean having inclusion for Taiwan in any kind of international affairs. The TPP would be the largest of international affairs that Taiwan can be involved in, and that would certainly set the tone for them being a separate entity on a separate entity from China on the world stage. Their inclusion in the TPP will probably warrant some kind of reaction from the Chinese government. That's just going to be my guess, just to be honest with you, because the Chinese government will probably declare that they could declare it as an act of aggression and an act of realignment from the mainland. So I'll be anxious to see how that actually pans out, and I'll be watching closely how they try to get Taiwan in the TPP. I'll leave a link for this here too. This is a Focus Taiwan news channel. This is actually in Taiwan. Let's go to the next link here. Okay, this was a book here that I was looking at, the United States and Asia towards a new U.S. strategy and force posture. And I'll just go ahead and read to you. I believe it was the second paragraph I wanted to read to you. U.S. involvement in a major crisis in the Taiwan Strait undoubtedly ranks uppermost among Chinese strategic anxieties. Despite the rapid growth of economic ties and people-to-people relations between China and Taiwan, Beijing has been unable to forestall the island's democratization and its increased political identity apart from the mainland. In the aftermath of China's March 1996 ballistic missile test near Taiwan's major ports, the United States enhanced military relations with Taiwan to include increased arms sales and more regular exchanges with Taiwanese defense officials. These military ties could also lead to a heightened collaboration on missile defense, for example, provision of early warning radars that could, under some circumstances, renew more direct U.S. defense linkages with Taiwan. So, here it's, letting you know as far as radars and stuff like that, we have all of these things in Taiwan, and with us having all of these things in Taiwan, I'm sure that it's not just for the Taiwanese people. I'm sure that it's also for the Chinese. Let's go to our next link here. Like I said, I'll be leaving a link for all of these books here. I wanted to also, this is actually the same book. This was actually the back of the cover. I thought this was interesting. So in the past 20 years, Asia has experienced tremendous economic growth and expansion of democratic institutions and relative peace. Although several countries suffered economic upheavals in the late 90s, most have recovered with the notable exception of Indonesia. But serious problems could arise in a number of countries, between India and Pakistan, between China and Taiwan, or in Indonesia or the Korean Peninsula. The authors examine future direction for the region and offer alternatives for adapting United States strategy. Okay? As you'll notice right here in writing, this new effort by Rand. So Rand has their name on everything. Everything, everything, everything. If we go back to here, this is Rand right here. The Army After Next, Exploring Concepts and Technologies for the Light Battle Force. So Rand writes from both sides of the aisles, in-depth analysis of China and their capabilities, also of the United States and their capabilities, and other countries and their capabilities. Rand is pretty much like, Rand is pure intelligence. So if you pay attention to their writings, you can kind of find out where the direction of things are going, especially if you correlate that with current events, with news, and a little bit of what you see going on around you. All right. Now, I wanted to show you this because this was highly important, but this, I'm going to leave a link for this. Chinese state television ran footage of troops storming a mock-up of Taiwan's presidential palace. When's the date on that? July 27, 2015. This is not an old article, people. This is not an old article. So there's a reason why this information is coming out and it's not being focused on, because it's meant to keep that disconnect there so that you're not able to fully embrace what's going on in that area. But if the Chinese do actually invade Taiwan and try to reclaim their territory, and try to put here's the actual footage, try to put their dictatorship-like qualities over the people that have elected to have democracy, I can ensure you that the United States will step in. There will be a war that will ensue from any kind of an act of aggression from China to topple Taiwan. So, even though China knows that, look at this. This is a building that they built that's a mock-up of the presidential palace that's in Taiwan. Now, it's not an exact mock-up, but it's definitely exactly what the structure looks like, technically just in the outer shape of it. So, and this was something that they released just to show the Taiwanese people that they are actively participating in drills that would effectively mean the invasion of Taiwan in their presidential palace that's there. I'll leave a link for this. This was a pretty good article from the Business Insider. And here you go. There's the presidential office building in Taiwan. So, for the Chinese to be releasing video like that, I'm sure that video wasn't by accident, we'll just say. They didn't do that exercise by accident. And there's another video at the bottom that actually goes through the whole, the exercise that they were doing that day. It is in Chinese, so I can't understand it, but I'll leave a link here so you can check it out. And let's see here. If this page actually comes up on the screen here, all right. It says, here's what the Pentagon thinks the Chinese attack on Taiwan will look like. This was written up last year in 2014. Okay? I don't know if it's by the same person. We said Armin Rosen. Oh, yeah, Armin Rosen. Same person. Is writing articles obviously following the trends of that area and our relations with that area and the government. I'll make sure I leave an article here for this report too. Uh, but, obviously there's talk here of, you know, of the Chinese attacking Taiwan. Now, if you're seeing this from a year ago, ask yourself why you've never heard of it on mainstream media. There's a reason why you've never heard of this on mainstream media. Now, think about what's going on right now with us blaming China for market manipulation and them blaming us for market manipulation. The markets are melting down. These are technically factors that could send countries into war. Dueling countries could go into war over, financial collapse, because we're going to have to posture up for the future to figure out who's going to have the leading currency. The United States is not going to roll over and say, you know what, those Chinese people, they did pretty good with their economy under our currency. We'll let them take control of this next run. They're not going to do that. The United States is going to protect our interests by all means, whether they're ill-gotten means or whatever. The United States is going to do what she does. And, I feel bad for the Chinese people, but I can already see where this is not going to go well for China. I think that it will not go well for a lot of the United States, but I think that it will definitely not go well for China very quickly. So, we see the United States posturing up all around the Asian Pacific area. They're posturing up everywhere. There's Chinese reports that are coming out about the posturing up that's happening, that the Americans are doing with the countries all around China. The Chinese feel the tension. They know what's going on. There's a reason why we're shipping massive amounts of equipment there. We're talking about planes, helicopters. We're talking boots on the ground kind of people. So this is not a ramping up of soldier presence just because of what's going on in Korea. Korea just shook hands the other day over their border dispute at the DMZ. They shook hands. Now, I'm not going to say that's going to last. You're shaking hands with North Korea, so that's worth nothing. But at the end of the day, it is to signify that there is some kind of talking going on. Even amidst all that talking, the United States is like, yep, we're gonna put some of this equipment out here just in case. So, and they're putting it pretty close. I believe they sent it out to Japan. So, we have equipment in that area. We've ramped up the level of equipment that we have in Taiwan. The Chinese know this. They're not dumb, of course, and I'm sure just as nervous as we are, our military is as far as what is China's next move. China's military is just as nervous saying, what is the United States' next move? And China has been acting very aggressively in the area. They're creating man-made islands, an international water area. I mean, they're just kind of doing whatever they want to do, and they're daring the United States to do something about it. At the same token, the United States is, they're poking. They're poking and they're waiting for China to react in a way that's clear aggression, instead of things that things that are wishy-washy can go two ways on. So what the United States is waiting for is a clear act of aggression, because that'll warrant any moves that we need to take to secure our future interests and to secure our economy as far as the value of our dollar is concerned. Russia and China now being a part of BRICS with other communities like South Africa, they're getting away from the dollar. They're not worried about the dollar. They're not even worried about it collapsing. China's not worried about the dollar collapsing. They're not. They have something they can replace it with right away. The only people worried about the dollar collapsing is the United States and our European partners and some of the people we probably buy oil off of. But now we're starting to see that the petrodollar is collapsing too, because some of those same Middle Eastern allies that we had that we're buying oil off of, or even the ones that we've stolen, They've stolen them back, or some of those allies are looking to sell oil outside of the declining dollar. So we have a lot going on in the area. We have a lot going on in the region outside of the United States, whether you talk about the Middle East or whether you talk about the Asian Pacific area. But what they're not focusing on is the complications between Taiwan and China. That's what I want people to get in their heads as far as what's really going on, where the battle is going to start. The battle is going to start in the place where we are most accepted, which is Taiwan. We Americans can go into Taiwan and have a good time there. They love us in Taiwan. We love them. It's democracy there. They're an open kind of society. They can elect a female. I'm sure they're good on LGBT rights, all kinds of things. So they're as advanced of a society as we are here in the United States, and as open as a society as we are here in the United States. Therefore, being our ally, we can go over there and set up shop. So, we can't have that taken away from us. The Chinese do want to take that away from us. That's why they're putting out propaganda of their soldiers raiding the presidential palace in Taiwan, or the presidential office in Taiwan. Here's another article in the Diplomat, and this was written in June 17th, 2015, how China practices the invasion of Taiwan. Okay? So again, it's showing how the PLA, that's the People's Liberation, the People's Liberation Army, People's Liberation Army. That's China's army. They're actively out there. I'm sure they're not running around as soldiers saying, "Hey, let's just practice today how to invade Taiwan if we think we may want to do it one day." No, these orders and these plans. They're plans. That's what they are. That's why you practice. You practice for something that you're going to enact one day. Okay, these plans are being orchestrated from the top level, disseminated on down to the bottom where these soldiers can practice. They can get step by step what they need to do. They're having props and decoys set up like the presidential office building just so they don't mess it up. Okay, because it's a very important, Taiwan is a very important piece of land. If China takes Taiwan, China can then have an advantage on the western border of the United States. China and Russia together would have that advantage. Then we would only be kind of centered in South Korea right there, with China and Russia all around us, and North Korea. That's not a good position. We have Japan in the area, but it's not quite as advantageous as Taiwan. Okay, so there's a big mixture that's going on there that the media is ignoring. I've been waiting for them to talk about it now for a really long time, and it hasn't come up because like I said, if you watch part one, then you know that the focus of the United States is purely on the Asian region, and namely China. So, and through that first video, you'll see that Israel and Russia have been supplying China. Israel has been a huge proponent in supplying the defense mechanisms and the offensive capabilities of China, our ally, Israel. So this game that the media is playing with us and giving us half facts, half truths, which half truths are lies, it doesn't cut it. I know that all these news anchors can't possibly be that brain dead and stupid to not understand anything that's going on in reality. I know they can't. So I know that some of them know, and it's not a part of their narrative to talk about yet, so they're not going to talk about it. And that's what I'm saying about your news media is controlled media. So let me not get into too much of a rant. They said, well, how does Jade Helm tie into all of this? And, that's a good story about Taiwan and, China. And, I watched part one, and yeah, you made some valid points. And, you know, you said a few valid things, but how do I know? Why should I listen to you? Why should I really trust what you're saying? That's a good point. It's a very good point. I will tell you like this. I'm going to bring up a couple articles. Actually, hold on. Here's another article. Senator John McCain is in here. He wants China uninvited from the war games. That's just what. That's this year, this summer too. So, he wants them invited for the war games, all based on the fact of. Let me see here. I believe it was something dealing with. I believe it was something dealing with Taiwan. Maybe not. I'm not really sure, but so we have some of these older guys like him. He's been around for a long time, man. He knows what's going on in that region. He knows about AIT, the American Institute in Taiwan. I'm sure he's had relations over there and possibly been over there himself and knows the history well. He knows a great deal of military history. So with that being said, I'm sure that he knows about the Army After Next initiative, also called Army Capstone Concept for 2016 to 2028. I'm sure that he knows about these things. So this is what I'm saying as far as crooked politicians, crooked media, people that don't want to talk about it. Now, let me see here if I can pull this up. Here goes just some pictures of what I was going to get to earlier. You look anywhere in the world and try to find a mountain now named Jade Mountain. There's a part of Taiwan that is just completely mountainous and a lot of forest. And there's a national park there. I believe it's called Yushan National Park, if I'm not mistaken. Let me see here. Excuse me. I believe that's what it's called. Yushan National Park. So in Yushan National Park, you can go up there, you climb the mountain if you want, you can do all that stuff, but it's a highly inaccessible area as far as some of the mountain peaks and, Jade Mountain in particular. Now, I will tell you this, because it is a highly, a hard area to reach, that makes it ideal. There's nothing more than the military loves to do than to build bases in areas where it's hard to reach. They love to build a base inside of a mountain or under a mountain. The military has many, when I say what I'm about to say, just trust and believe this. The military has many bases inside of mountains. Mountains are natural defensive structures. So if you can build inside of it, excuse me, it's better than living inside of a pyramid. Okay? So, I'm not saying that the military has a structure inside of Jade Mountain. I'm not saying that. But I will say this. Another name for Jade Mountain is also, I believe it's Yushan Mountain. Let's actually do this. Let's actually do a Jade Mountain, Taiwan. Let's do a search. And maybe I can pull it up actually in this video and show you something real quick. I'm sorry, I thought I actually had this page opened up on the screen, but it seems to have disappeared. But yeah, Jade Mountain, here it is. Here's some more pictures. And I'll leave a link for this area too, so you can come in here and, get an idea of what it looks like around that area. It's beautiful terrain. Really, really beautiful terrain. Let's go up here. We'll freeze it up a little bit. Alright, well, while I have this video application running, this is giving me a little bit of a problem. So I'll make sure that I share the Wikipedia link for Jade Mountain. But I believe if you check it out, that it was called Yushan Mountain. It has a very interesting history that I really thought that I had open here. Let me see, I'll check my links one more time just to make sure. No, I don't have it open. Yes, I don't know what happened to that link. But yeah, either way, the reason why that's important is this. The mountain has a heavy history in the Taiwan area. It is a highly revered mountain because of its deep history. It was the name of it is involved in Pearl Harbor when the Japanese used to have the island, and it has a deep, rich history as far as its name is concerned and its uses throughout history. It's funny to me that the Taiwanese people, and you can look this up too, they have an exercise, a Yushan exercise that they do every year, and it's a military exercise that they do. It's like a celebration / exercise that they do, parade and all that good stuff, and they they go over their drills and stuff like that. Now, these words are interchangeable. You have to understand, because when you're talking about like Yushan Mountain, well, it's also called Jade Mountain Peak. It has like a few different names, and when you check out the Wikipedia, I wish I could bring that Wikipedia up right now, but when you check out the Wikipedia on it, it'll show you that there's the different names for the actual mountain. But the significance to the Taiwanese people is the most important thing that you need to know about the mountain. You don't need to know, all the history and all that stuff. Just know that it is significant to Taiwan and to the structure of Taiwan. It's the tallest mountain on Taiwan. So what is the likelihood that we would have a jade helm kind of a war game going on in the United States? And I'll take you back even to another path here. Let me see. And we have a guy here that's at the helm, 3 years at the helm of the American Institute in Taiwan. So Jade Helm, to me, and I'm not putting together the words and saying, oh, Jade Mountain, and then I found the word helm of American Institute of Taiwan. No, that's not what I'm doing. What I'm doing is I'm drawing a correlation. I'm not saying that's what it is and that points it out and that's the blaringly obvious thing there. No, I'm drawing the correlation to show you that we are at the head of relations of the things that are going on in the Taiwan government, and Jade Mountain has a lot to do with the Taiwanese people, and we're having big problems with China right now, and China's having big problems with us being in Taiwan right now. So with that being said, they're doing all kinds of exercises around Taiwan to intimidate, to get the people afraid. They want to know, is China going to try to invade us and take what we've built and worked so hard for? And Taiwan is probably also wondering, well, what is the U.S. going to do to help us if that does happen? We've already invested $12 billion there. We have $12 billion worth of equipment over there. So I'm sure we are helping. We're not going to let China just come in and take over and then take our equipment too. That's not going to happen. So, your Jade Helm is tied into your Army After Next. Jade Helm is nothing but the precursor exercise for Army After Next. Excuse me. What Jade Helm allows the military to do is to position in the southwestern border of the United States, because that's the only logical position that we can even get hit with an attack from anything coming from China. You know, anything coming on our western border, we're pretty much not going to get hit by that. We have plenty efforts and opportunity to stop any of that. But any kind of naval fleet that goes down to the southwestern border of the United States would be open to penetration. So what did we see during Jade Helm? We see that the southwestern states are where all the equipment and all the soldiers have went in the United States. Jade Helm is not about the border, about the Mexican border. A lot of people think it's about that. No, it has nothing to do with the Mexican border. Yes, we do have Russians, and not that Russians are bad people. Let me just put that out there. We have a lot of people coming through, as far as the people that are running from the Ukraine-Russia conflict. We have people that are running from the Middle Eastern conflict, and we don't have all the best of the best people coming through. That's what the immigration stuff is all about. We have people that are coming through just undocumented. They're all coming through Mexico. They're not just showing up on the eastern border and saying, hey, let me just hop on this land and go see if I can make it. No, they're coming right through Mexico. They go to Mexico first, and they cross the border just like the Mexicans that are fleeing Mexico. So, with that being said, a lot of folks think that Jade Helm is possibly, about that, and that we have Islamic terrorists that are coming through the Mexican border to do harm to us. I don't care how many Islamic terrorists they send through the Mexican border, they can never do enough harm to us to actually take us down as a country. You can't. I mean, it's literally impossible. The only thing that can take us down as a country, is going to be a cyber attack or a full-scale nuclear attack. That's it. Those are the only two things that you can do, or an EMP attack, which is, nuclear in sense. So, as far as us worrying about Islamic terrorists coming through the southern border of the United States, no. We shouldn't have to worry about that too much. The general I worked for, General Abrams, after the military, he started a company. It's called Axis. Axis was contracted for the federal government to provide security to the southern border with Mexico. I believe they set up 5 or 6 command stations along the Mexican border. So all Trump would have to do is go in and connect linking points to get with General Abrams, go in, connect linking points towards these 6, I believe it's 6 stations that were set up, towards these 6 centralized command points, and build his wall or big fence or whatever the hell he wants to build over there. But for people to act like we can't secure the border, I worked for the general that has pretty much secured the border until the United States decide to let it go. I mean, as a company that's contracted to do work, he can only do but so much. But as far as him putting in the initiative that's at the border right now, I mean, or else we'd be having literally millions of people crossing the border right now. But for what's there right now, it's working effectively because there was a guy behind the scenes that I used to work for, General Abrams, that put that into place. So I know that we don't have to worry about the border too much. I'm not worried about the border. That's not what I'm worried about. What I'm worried about is an attack that could come from that angle of the United States. We're securing up our interest in Cuba. And that's only because the Russians have a stake in Cuba, just like they have a stake in Mexico. With that being said, we need to make sure that wherever we are on the southeastern side of the United States is also strong, and that we have a presence there too. I believe it was just earlier this year or last year, Russia had two of their warships down in Cuba. Now, they could have had anything on them. We don't know what kind of weaponry was on them, but I know that had to make a few people uneasy because we didn't have any warships down there with them. So what if a nuclear device came off of that warship? And I believe that the Russians put it down there just as, a little bit of intimidation and saying, yeah, we're here, we're around, we're viewing and seeing, where the holes are. We're checking. And I believe the United States took it as such. And now look, we have relations with Cuba. So, we are posturing right now. This is all about posturing up, getting ready for the next world war. And if you watch the first video, you will completely understand that the next world war is not going to be fought in the Middle East. It's not going to be fought between Ukraine and Russia. When people thought that, I was like, no, that's not going to happen. I've been waiting for this moment. It's going to be fought between between China and the United States. China has a good friend in Russia, so it will be a hell of a fight fighting China and Russia. North Korea, we're not too worried about. We really don't care about them. They're a non-factor, just to be honest with you. So they have nuclear capabilities, but their nuclear capabilities are just as good as their computers are. So we're not really concerned about them. They'd probably blow themselves up with a nuclear device before they would hit the United States. China, Russia, two different things. That's a little bit different. They have technology that's very useful, and they've been in cooperation with Israel, and of course we know a lot of things come out of Israel. So we have to keep our eyes open. We have to pay attention to what the truths are. The real news can be found through reading. It can't be found through watching Fox. Please turn Fox off. If you haven't watched the documentary Outfoxed, go watch it. I stopped watching Fox probably about 10 years ago. When I realized, I said, wait, something's not right. This is biased. I consider myself a pretty non-biased person. I like to operate purely off of facts. If I can get the facts and then make an educated decision, that's what I'd rather do in life. Not Fox. So don't watch Fox News. Turn that crap off. If you see one news agency focusing on an issue way too much, turn that crap off. There's a lot of real topics out here that need to be discussed, and they can be discussed if people get educated and do the research. I understand a lot of people didn't know what to research for when we're talking about Jade Helm. I get it. There was a capstone exercise that went down in Washington, D.C. last year that I covered, and not a lot of people do to even look at that. So, and as a matter of fact, those articles were actually erased. I still don't know to this day what happened to those articles. I did a ton of research on the capstone exercise that was happening in Washington, D.C., and now I don't have any of it. I don't even have the videos. So all of that stuff is gone. This capstone information that I'm giving you, Army After Next, Army capstone concept information, all of this information is information that is sensitive information. It's not, essentially classified anymore. There's books out about it. There's publications by RAND that you can go get. There's public information about it. But the ability of the mass media to not focus on that public information is the deception that I'm referring to. So I haven't done two long videos like this in a long time. This is the conclusion of everything that I had to say about Jade Helm and about the Army After Next. I needed to bring out the Army After Next into this Jade Helm discussion so you can figure out where this is all going. Little fun fact: that little symbol right there is the symbol for Jade. Just so you know. I've been researching and realized that. I don't know the language, but I know that symbol is the symbol for Jade. So stay alert, stay alive, keep your eyes open. Let's go ahead and keep tying this information together. If I took a misstep anywhere in my speaking of this, feel free to comment on it. Comment below. Tell me what you found out, what you know, what you see. I believe in respectful, open conversation. But this is the direction that we're going in, guys. I would say comment below. I'll say comment below and give me your opinions and stuff. But we can't deny the facts that are in front of us either. The facts are purely what they are. There wouldn't be analysts that are in the media that obviously aren't on TV, that have been researching these articles for years and writing about these type of articles because, it's something that doesn't exist. No, this exists. It's just not being talked about. But this is our next front for war. Look for Taiwan to start popping up more often in the news, and also tensions with China and Taiwan will pop up a lot more often in the news. We're already seeing the tensions with China. We're already seeing the tensions with North and South Korea. So as the Asian Pacific area starts to unravel a little bit, the U.S. will have their hand in every pot. In every single pot. We'll want to, assert our world dominance and our supremacy throughout the world, as I pointed out in that first slide, in that very first slide of the first, part of this video here. That's our goal. In 1996, they wrote it. And don't blame this on me. Go back and look in the first video. In 1996, they wrote in 2016, because of commerce and other situations, that the Army After Next would have to be used to pretty much bring an end to anything that would oppose our supremacy in the world. They wrote that in 1996. And the threat that they were talking about was China for 2016 to 2028. That's all I have to say. Keep your eyes open. Like I said, stay alert, stay alive. Go to my website, whoissincere.com. If you want to donate, to help me keep, making articles like this and doing videos like this, go to New Account Activation. Purchase that system that I have in New Account Activation. Use it for yourself. It'll, help you out with your marketing, help you to get into the world of marketing and understanding how marketing works. So it's a very good system that makes me a little bit of money here and there. I encourage you to use it for yourself, to make yourself a little bit of money on the side too. So again, whoissincere.com. I hope that you enjoyed this presentation on what is about Jade Helm and the Army After Next, and where America is really headed. Thank you very much.